Hey everybody, welcome back to Warhammer 40k, Rogue Trader. Last time where we left off, we were about to land on Emperor's Palm. We have to go there and take control of the forces, cause apparently all of the commanders are at odds with each other. Lord Captain, an urgent report on the servants of the Omnissiah. They managed to locate a second message on the House Orselio data slate hidden in the shadow of the first one. As soon as it happened, the machine spirit rebelled and started devouring the decrypted data. The acolytes of the cult Mechanicus are performing the rites to appease it and slow down the process of annihilation. What should we do? Display it? Okay. Rogue Trader? Lady Navigator Elena. The one who staged an attempt to assassinate Cassia right in your palace politely smiles at you from the vidscreen. I had no doubt that your servants would find my trace. They are far cleverer than the ones employed by the great regent of House Orselio. She does not bother to hide the venomous disdain in her last few words. I feel extremely awkward that our first encounter took place under such unfortunate circumstances. Truth be told, I saw a worthy person behind the lofty title only after fate put me on the death's precipice. You hesitated to end my life despite holding it in your hands. Your noble deed gave me enough food for thought. Despite everything that transpired, I still believe we may become loyal allies to one another. I presume you already know that House Orselio will be holding a grand council in the depths of that accursed Atlas very soon, and we cannot ignore the call, for we are bound to it against our will. But if you convinced this by Lady Cassia to reject the Atlas and break the centuries-old shackles binding our house, we could turn over a new page. Having said that, I will accept a different outcome. Should the child die, I'm not going to shed any tears. Damn. I will accept any choice, Rogue Trader. My people have nothing else to lose. But you could benefit from our friendship. There lies an emerald in the ray of Martianus. My gift to you for sparing my life. Head through the storms and torrents. I don't know what it says. I'm very sorry, Lord Captain. The servants of the Omnissiah could no longer restrain the machine spirit's hunger. I hope you were able to see the vid message through to the end. Okay. Lord Captain, I have made an important discovery. When you destroyed the creature the mutants called the Sire, I felt it was my duty to investigate how the abomination had found its way onto our ship. Digging through the old inventories and archives of trade transactions, I latched onto a single name, Finger of Sorrow. More than 2 centuries ago, the drifting hulk of this vessel was discovered by Lady Theodora's predecessor. It was a lost merchant ship with a hold full of cargo. I was reminded of the 3 sorrowful phalanges mentioned by the twisted creatures. I dare theorize that this image harkens back to the name of the ship woven into the heretics' beliefs. A third of the goods taken from the Finger of Sorrow were sold to the Drusian mission on Footfall for the needs of a colonization ark, the Wasteland Wayfarer, bound for the world of Jezebon. A third was taken to Hive Scipione 84-something on Dargonus, where a mutiny broke out later, and the final third was left on the flagship. Surely you can see where I'm going with this. Centuries later, a cult of mutants emerged in every single location the shipments were delivered to. Where do you think this Finger of Sorrow come from? It arrived in the Expanse from somewhere in the Calixis sector. More precise information may be contained in the dead vessel's log, but I do not have it in my possession. Isn't this where the next Warhammer is gonna take place? What do you think these 3 sorrowful phalanges represent? I assume they symbolize the 3 branches of the cult, the Nourishers, the Ravenous Star, and the unnamed cult from Scipione. At least I pray to the Emperor that there are only 3. Are you telling me that the von Valancius dynasty has been transporting genetic aberrations across the Expanse? Purely out of ignorance, the creatures probably lurked in the cargo and no one discovered them. Or perhaps, we know these things can take over minds. They could have dominated anyone who stumbled upon their nest. Yeah, I wish to locate the wreck and investigate it. The coordinates have already been entered into the logbook, your lordship. Okay, so wait, we have 2 quests here, 2 new ones. Emergency aboard the voidship. A foul warp entity has pierced the thin veil of the Gellerfield and spawned unimaginable beasts of unnatural hues. Wait, is this Oh, okay, this is like a scripted event. Okay, we don't care about this. So, I went here. Wait a second. So, like, I don't see anything for Cassia. Inspect the wreck of the Finger of Sorrow. Wait, where is that? Oh, this is for Abelard. The Finger of Sorrow. Did it say... oh, Omicron. Okay. So right here. Right. Okay, how do we go there? Well, I guess we can do this. Because, like, I don't want to deal with events right now. Permission to report, Lord Captain. Mistress Kibella has been apprehended by enforcers at the scene of a crime. Eyewitnesses saw her assault and kill the esteemed Chirurgeon Majoris. She has confessed to the murder. The penalty for murdering a senior officer is death. However, given Mistress Kibella's honorable service and her special status, I dare not proceed without your permission. She's incarcerated and awaiting your judgment. Let me know when you're ready to hear her case. I mean, do I have a choice? Death has whispered your name. You will not care about this. Put Kibella on trial? Dude, what is happening? I have to go here, right? Okay, I'm just gonna do this. I don't want to waste my... Wait, what the shit? Did I go to the bridge? I don't think so. I think this was done automatically. Yeah, okay. Mrayse, how wonderful it is that I have found you here. Uncontrollable anxiety washes over your body, causing you to lose your breath. Cassia notices this, closes her eyes, and you are released from the grip of emotions that are not your own. Please forgive me. My powers are sometimes too insistent in their attempts to break free from my control. You have made great strides in learning how to keep them at bay. I commend your perseverance. I came to deliver good tidings. I have spoken with the house's navigators through the Atlas. Of late, I can feel with increasing clarity how our connection is growing stronger. Despite the descent in its midst, House Orselio has been able to keep a precarious equilibrium, thanks in part to your unexpected arrival on Urak 5 and the resolution of the conflict at the Dragonus reception. Not all Orselios concur with your decisions, but none can defy the impact that you and no one else have had on the house's present state of affairs. There is more I wish to tell you. It is about the visions that I have come to experience at an increasing rate during warp jumps. The same visions come to me again and again and again. It is as if I'm going mad. For you see, these visions are about me, the Atlas, Tisiphone Orselio, the house's previous novator. I have seen Tisiphone's experiments, the ones that involved the navigators from Setala branch, which he was rumored to have destroyed for disobedience. But the visions told me an altogether different story, one where the Sethalas helped Tisiphone create the Atlas, and they vanished immediately after the experiments were done with. Perhaps I can... No, I know I can find a way to the Palace of the Atlas if I recreate Tisiphone's journey from my visions. A real palace, not a psychological... the psychophysical illusion to which the Orselio navigators can reach out. I have always had a feeling that it truly exists in our world. Now, however, I know it with absolute certainty. I have been informed that House Orselio will soon convene its Grand Council. Would it not be better to wait for it to finish first? I cannot shake a certain foreboding about the upcoming meeting in the incorporeal Palace of the Atlas. Troubling mirages have plagued my mind for many nights now, voices calling and cursing my name, and the more I use the Atlas, the clearer the visions become, and the louder the voices grow, and the further my powers wane. I'm certain that all of the house is experiencing the same, for all of us are connected. I can sense my family's fear. House Orselio is doomed to perish in darkness should I fail to discover the reason why the Atlas is weakening, and that reason, I believe, it is hidden somewhere in my visions of Tisiphone. What makes you so sure that you will find a way to this physical manifestation of the Atlas? I saw the symphony experience an epiphany in a dream, just like my visions came to me on our travels through the warp. She beheld a planet hidden behind roiling warp storms. The world promised her great power, so the symphony gathered the Setalas, her most devout followers, to go on a suicidal journey through the tempest. I know not the details of what happened on that planet, but it was there that the Setalas sacrificed themselves for an experiment of some kind, and it was there that House Orselio obtained its Starway Atlas. For the first time ever, I have an opportunity to find answers to the questions my mentors so deftly avoided. Why did the symphony choose me? What is the Atlas? Is it true that House Orselio's past is drenched in blood? Please, Marays, do not snap this totally drawn string of destiny, my destiny. Journey with me in the symphony's wake to the distant stars. Sure. The house is still watching me, both the renegades and the loyalists. I doubt that any of them will agree even to a brief armistice for the sake of learning the truth about the Atlas's origins. And I do not wish to see House Orselio lose even one more life to another fratricidal skirmish. No, I shall go after the answers about our past on my own. Okay, so does she want me with her or what? If you wish to show the house your strength and undauntable spirit, invite the renegades to be the first to touch the secrets of the Atlas they loathe so much. I mean, I guess let's just go with what she wants. It's best we go alone. Thank you for your understanding. The price of power. And now permit me to take my leave. I must start preparing for the journey. From what I've been able to glean, we must travel to the Orselio prophecy system. Odd that. Could it be that the historical records are lying? And Kalain Orselio is not whom the star system is named after? Either way, that was a system for which the symphony embarked on her journey, and we're going to follow in her long-forgotten footsteps. Okay, dude, this isn't like nearing the end here. We have like so much stuff to do. And I kinda don't like that it puts us back inside our quarters. Like, just put me back to where we were earlier, man. Janus Coron event, we don't care about that. Okay, so first of all, I wanna go to Omicron. See what we have there. For the phalanges. See what this is. Finger of Sorrow. I don't think this was here earlier. I mean, maybe it wasn't willing to access it? I don't think so though. The hulk of a merchant ship drifts through the void like a gutted corpse. The hull is riddled with gouges from macro cannon fire. The soot-covered letters on the side spell out a somber name, Finger of Sorrow. Use the augurs to examine the ship. It's devoid of vital signs. Life support systems have long since failed. Cold, darkness, and silence fill the wreck of the Finger of Sorrow. Dispatch an expedition. A squad of enforcers and tech priests put on their void suits and dock with the ship. The vessel is empty except for the frozen and desiccated corpses of the crew. Some retain human features, but others are easily recognizable as genetic aberrations. They have been dead for centuries. Examine the logbook. The Finger of Sorrow was a common merchant vessel. The log records its travels along many of the trade routes from the Calixis sector. The last entry states that the ship departed from Port Wonder on the border between the Koronus Expanse and Calixis sector. The tech priest notes that the protocols for undocking from the station were not followed, indicating either a hasty escape or blatant disregard for the covenants of the Omnissiah. Search the hold. The hold is empty apart from a few containers. However, careful examination points to 3 open service hatches that bear claw marks. Venturing deeper into the service tunnels, the enforcers find 3 empty nests with chunks of purple chitin and dry traces of dark slime that has eaten through the metal panels. There can be no doubt that gene stealers once lurked here. Inspect the cabins. Amulet of the Ravenous Star. In the first round of combat, the wearer's movement points is doubled. Many of the cabins have become tombs for the bodies of the crew. They asphyxiated when the ship's life support systems failed. One of the enforcers notices a cache marked with a symbol of a fanged serpent with a sharp tail and 3 clawed limbs. The cache contains an amulet and a miraculously preserved diary. Relay the contents of the diary to the flagship. It was kept by one of the missionaries of a gene stealer cult. According to the entries, this cult secretly spread throughout much of the Calixis sector, although the author doesn't mention any specific infected worlds. He recalls with reverence the Promised Land, the Cradle of Faith, salty as the tears of righteous martyrs. The author's branch of the cult had settled on Port Wonder Station, the last threshold between the Calixis and the Koronus Expanse. The cult grew and gained followers among the workers and the poor, and even managed to infiltrate powerful trade guilds. However, their plans fell apart when the gene stealer's kiss was granted to an unworthy candidate. This oversight led to the discovery of the cult and the bloody purge. The author of the diary recalls with horrors and sorrow how many of the pure-blood children of the Star Savior perished in the massacre. The story ends by chronicling the escape of a small group of heretics who managed to save 3 purebreds and steal a merchant ship under heavy fire from the station. They narrowly navigated the maw, but the ship's damage was too severe. The 3 phalanges of the Finger of Sorrow, the pure-blood Star Children, fell into a long sleep and became dormant. Meanwhile, the cultists humbly watched the ship's life support systems fade away one after another. In the last lines, the author welcomes death in the name of the many-armed emperor with solemnity and elation. Destroy the ship. The enforcers plant melta charges at key points on the vessel, and the explosion rips the Finger of Sorrow to pieces that are obliterated by strikes from the macro cannons. Okay. I mean... I kinda expected more from this, but okay. I guess it is a conclusion, but yeah. So... perform the ritual. Do we do this first or this? Put Kibella on trial. Maybe we do this first, since we're still on the Void Shadows train here. Let's go find Kibella. I mean, she did say she's incarcerated? But like, what does that mean? Where do I find her if she's incarcerated? Do I talk to Yocasta, maybe? Most likely, right? Unless he's incarcerated somewhere... Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Bring Kibella here. I want to know what drove her to murder. Let justice be done. Ha, we sit on the throne. Okay. Lord Captain, a murder has been committed on this ship. The victim is one Letard Forius, Chirurgeon Majoris. Oh, I know him. He was over here, right? The perpetrator was apprehended at the scene of the crime, admitted her guilt, and did not resist arrest. Didn't I ask this guy, or like, did I not agree with him to give him like subjects to do experiments on or something? Maybe Kibella thought this was heretical, and she killed him. Kibella appears cold and apathetic. Her unblinking eyes stare vacantly, her expression odd. The Forius clan invoked a ship's tradition and summoned a requiescator to testify on behalf of the deceased. The late Letard Forius. The masked man bows, stiffly and decorously. A requiescator? Explain. When there is no one to speak for a deceased person in court, the representative is entitled to seek assistance from a member of the Requiescator's Guild. Their duty is to know and remember each and every person on the ship so that they can defend the interests of the deceased and represent them in court. They study the victim's entire life history to gain the most detailed impression of their personality, deeds, and aspirations. The guild was founded by one of your distant ancestors, and to my knowledge, the Requisitors only exist on our glorious flagship. So they're like lawyers. Why is a Requisitor speaking for the late Forius? Does the man not have a family? The clan to which the deceased belonged are wary of bringing accusations against the Lord Captain's companion, and the esteemed Lettard never made any courageous friends in his life, having always preferred his work to the company of others. Yeah. Let us see just how well he knows the deceased. Tell me, Requisitor, what did Forius like and dislike about his work? Honestly, I don't remember much about this guy, so... He was fascinated by diseases, injuries, pathogens, complications. The part he disliked was the patients. They would not let him concentrate on that which was killing them. How do you feel, Kibela? I'm fine. This is just a hollow ceremony, pointless. Tell me about the circumstances of the murder. The eyewitness accounts didn't give us much. The deceased and the murderer had a brief conversation, following which Mistress Kibela beheaded the Chirurgeon Majoris. The witnesses did not overhear any details of the conversation. Is it true that you killed him, Kibela? Yes. Neither the Chirurgeon's death nor her own impending punishment seemed to trouble Kibela. Her pensive dark gaze wanders around the bridge. It was me. Why did you do it? The heartless man imagined himself to be above others. He believed his trade had uplifted him. He did not even avert his gaze. Your influence has made Kibela strive for greatness. Before a servant of the Undying One, it was brazen, unjustifiable. The Undying One never whispered his name. I myself decided to sever his thread. So she felt like killing some servant. Why do they all take such offense? Is every corpse going to cause such a stir from now on? Her colors have changed. The scarlet and the gold are drowning in the rage of muddled crimson, the misty blues of sorrow, and the impenetrable greens of doubt. These shades are all in conflict, melding together in a frenetic tapestry. Let us hear from the victim's representative. The esteemed Lettard served the voidship and his dynasty for many years. He treated the sick and gained new knowledge as his trade commanded. He saved many, but he himself was not saved. He caused Mistress Kibela no grievance. He never offended her. He merely answered her questions regarding his work, whereupon he was attacked. I mean, we don't know that. And so he has the right to demand a reckoning. The death of his murderer will be lawful and proportionate retribution. Yeah, that's not happening. The Heartless Man did more than heal people, he maimed them too, tortured them, killed them slowly, and observed. Yeah. There was another like the Heartless Man, a Xenos from the Dark City who lorded over flesh and oversaw unholy resurrections. Yeah. You rescued one of the three Kibelas from the Homunculus' laboratory after she had undergone his profane experiments. They were both touched by the same corruption, that of hubris. He treated the sick and he gained knowledge. The boots of those who walk the path of wisdom leave blooded footprints. It is a rule that existed long before the esteemed letter did. Whom specifically did Forius torture? Unimportant people, common people, doomed people. This was the esteemed Lettard's way of thinking. Does a doomed leper care whether the disease or the knife is causing them pain? Is the formula for a medicine that would cure the distinguished officers not worth the lives of a few dozen commoners turned test subjects? With the knowledge he gained, he invented a multitude of balms, antidotes, and treatment methods that went on to save thousands of lives. Forius' nonchalant disregard for common humanity is worthy of respect. The esteemed Lettard would be grateful for this judgment. He was a man of logic and practicality. I have learned enough. So I wanna say that this guy is right. What Forius did was respectable, but I still wanna save Kibella. We humbly await your verdict, Lord Captain. A murder was committed? Nah. My companion is within her rights to kill anyone on this ship. Her accusers, on the other hand, are not but dust. Do not touch her. Is that clear? Let's go with this. That is the Lord Captain's will, but the deceased would not call it justice. I cannot be put on trial. Kibella's words are barely louder than a whisper, but everyone hears them. She raises her head, face deathly pale, as if she is asleep with her eyes open. None have the right to judge a spinner of death. Wait, is this the first spinner? Vizier, yeah, only he can judge. Though the Vizier's eyes are sewn shut, one can still read the grief that permeates his wrinkled features. He whispers in a sorrowful voice, "You have strayed from the thread. You have doomed the tenets of the Bloodspan web to oblivion. What a sorry end, for me, not for you. For I am compelled to usher my apprentice's soul to the other side before it is my own time to go?" Wait, what? Why have you come here, Vizier? To take the one who no longer sees the tenets, to give her to him. She is dangerous, to pacify her forever. Such is my duty, and so it must be. What makes you think you are fit to judge me, Mentor? You are not him. Grant her grim soul mercy, Vizier, let her die. The blame for what happened lies not with Kibella, but with your own entire perverse philosophy. Enforcers, I order you to call every member of the Bloodspan web on my ship. Yeah, I never gave you permission to harm my servant, Vizier. But if you saw her the way I see her, you would. She is Tempest. She is woe. You do not want this by your side, Domin. Believe me. What is happening to her? She's not herself, I guess? The second spinner is in the throes of a spiritual ailment that we call doubt. This most terrible ailment, though harmless to layfolk, is deadly to us. For a doubtful spinner will stray from the undestined thread and into bloodthirsty madness. Doubt brings them to the Undying One before their time. Our service is demanding. It requires clarity and a sense of purpose that she no longer possesses. Long have I sensed the seeds of anxiety in her, but I hoped her reason would prove stronger and prevail. Alas, now I see the mark of despondence on her. Alas, I know that I'm not mistaken. So like, what happens if we choose this? Does this also kill Kibella? Because she's part of the Bloodspan web, right? Even though she's kinda doubting right now. This one is weird, I'm not doing this. So we have to do this or she dies? There must be a way to help her? How would one heal the soul of another, Domin? She is fighting a losing battle inside her mind. Once she has all but lost, we cannot enter her mind, we cannot reach out a hand to her. Although, you could. A thread binds the Domin and his shadow together. A rare thread, a shared thread. Will that connection be enough for your souls to enter into harmony? I must attempt to save her at the very least. Then seek a steward of souls. Enter Kibella's mind? An artisan who will put you both in a psyker's trance, allowing your minds to become one. You have a chapel full of astropaths, Domin. One of them will surely do you that service. See that their guidance is strong, for inside her soul you will encounter monsters. A doubt-ridden mind is a dangerous place. Okay. So, we have to go to the Quar? I like how we still have the captives here. Okay, let's see what this is. I kinda wanna be done with it. Oh, so we have to bring everyone. Oh, wait. Okay, so like this. I don't think I'll be able to bring in my retinue though. I'm probably gonna go alone with Kibela maybe? Maybe have to fight here as well? Let's see what Zachary has to say. Can you put me in a trance with Kibela? I need to get inside her mind. A synchronized trance is a complex telepathic practice. Things can go awry unless both participants trust each other and have a strong spiritual connection. However, I can sense that you do. I would be honored to be your guide during the ritual, Lord Captain. But remember, it's easy to get lost in another person's thoughts, and the fears of others house monsters. I'm prepared for the risk. Put us in a trance. May the God Emperor aid you, Lord Captain. What is this? Oh no, a book event? Fuck me, man. The Book of the Dead? The Holy Scripture of the Cult of the Bloodspan Web? Man, no, dude. A shackled mind cannot comprehend the wisdom contained herein. Therefore, repeat. He is death. Release your breath with each word. Cleanse your thoughts. He is death. Truth lies in death. Free your soul from the body's cage. Become nothing. He is death. Now that your heartbeat is a perfect line and your vision is shrouded in dusk, you have almost reached a state of purity and balance. Heed. No human will see death before their time. That is a delusion of the living. Heed. To which we say, a strong spirit can travel there and make the journey back. Heed the tale of the great Domin Mrayse, who descended to the kingdom of the dead to retrieve his shadow. He is death. Birth and death are one. We are snatched from a place of warmth and sent blood-covered into an unfamiliar world. Dying is the same. The Domin too learned this as he opened his eyes and found himself on the lower decks, lying in a cold coffin. He beheld his ship, drifting through nothingness, an adamantine giant's corpse, a skeleton mourning from the winds of entropy. A tempest of rust was gnawing at its plasteel bones and twisting its vein-like cables, while machine oil oozed down its bulkheads like lymph. Had the Domin been alone, he would have lost his way inside the ship's mangled bowels, but a guide reached out a hand to him. The spirit of the old Veni Zachary had loyally followed the Domin to the other side. In the labyrinth of the hereafter, the piercing gaze of Veni Zachary discerned the thorny path to the halls of death. The loyal servant swore to protect his lord. Together, dude, what is this? The Domin and the Veni made their way up through the malformed frame of the ship. From the cold catacombs of the lower decks, they traveled up in the fires of the ship's crematorium. Tongues of flame licked at them, yet they did not burn. Columns of the dead marched toward them to be turned to ash in the fire, and the Domin and the Veni walked toward the dead in turn. At the great gate of the crematorium, their path was blocked by the executioner, a sentinel made of metal spikes and coiling blades with roaring flame and pale, bleeding bodies writhing within. Such is a blade that has lost the strength of the tenets. A murderous monster is no longer driven by faith, but by dark desires. The Domin saw that the fight was inevitable and banished the monster with a fervent prayer to the Emperor? Oh wait, I do this with Mrayse? Interesting. The beast prostrated itself and began to tear its own body apart. For words of true faith pacify even the worst of evils with a sense of shame and self-loathing. And the card of his tarot appeared in the Domin's hand. It was the God Emperor, and the first doubt was dispelled. He is death. He is death. Veni Zachary led the Domin out of the hot furnace of the crematorium, and they walked past long columns of the dead. Frayed was their attire. Their bones scraped against the augmetics and scratched their decrepit flesh. They were mourning sorrowfully, and the sound made memory fade away. The Domin saw that the dead were carrying an ark, and inside the ark was a thing, a lost child cocooned in silk, shedding crimson tears for the unknown. The unliving carried her as servants would carry their lady, and loudly lamented their fate. Such is a blade mired in broodings over a long a lost past, a helpless child paralyzed by regret. Lest he sink into the soft rot of their whales and perish, the Domin... sternly ordered the apparition to vanish? Sure. I don't think any of this matters. Oh wait, we failed that? But his sorrow only grew heavier, numbing all feeling, for great was the sadness of the shadow that had spawned it. Then Veni Zachary's incantation enveloped the Domin, and it alone was able to save him. For one who has let doubt lead them astray is to be feared. He is death. He is death. And the old Veni led the Domin to the upper decks, and the Domin entered into the officers' chambers. A web of veins adorned the walls, entangling the precious trophies, and statues were bound in intertwining sinews. And high upon a balcony, the dismembered judge wailed as he attempted to resemble himself with his pale hands, reassemble himself. But his movements merely tightened the tangle of the flesh, turning the chambers into a snare. Such is a blade tangled and trapped in misunderstood teachings, a hapless creature that does not know its place in the world. In order to continue on his journey, the Domin studied the tangle of flesh for secret signs that would show him the way. And the Domin read the words and spoke them, and the judge's body began to rebuild itself to a new design, as beautiful as it was terrifying. For nothing is impossible when a soul has grasped the hidden wisdom. And a card of his tarot appeared in the Domin's hand. It was the Rock Trader, and the third doubt was dispelled. He is death. He is death. The flagship's bridge was draped in skulls and webs, and pale souls of the dead flocked to the foot of the throne upon which sat the undying Emperor, the protector of mankind. May his praises be innumerable. Starlight shone coldly in the eyes of his skull, and the galaxy rested in his mighty hand. The Domin approached his throne and spoke brazenly, demanding that he vacate the throne belonging to the Domin. The eyes of the Undying One's skull flashed ominously, for he was the Domin of the entire human race, and any and every throne was his throne. But he did not stoop to destroying the brazen Domin, for it was not yet his time to go. Then the Undying One spoke, and these words are to be preserved in your heart as the greatest of prayers, and they sprang from a source that was and is the holiest of all things. I know you, Domin. I know your heart, and the unclean corruption that dwells within it. I know the temptations and shameful longings that gnaw at you, and thus know this: you will face me again when it is your turn, and your spirit will be weighed but found unworthy, and you will rot in sorrow. But that will come to pass later. And speak the Domin did, saying that he had come to find his shadow and rescue her. The skeletal fingers stirred, and the Domin's shadow loomed out of the darkness beside his throne. She was bound in black chains and asleep. The Undying One was silent. Now was the time to offer a payment, as death would give nothing away without payment in return. And the Domin promised the Undying One to spare him from ruthless execution if he surrendered the Domin's shadow at once. The Undying One listened to the Domin's brazen words without a hint of a smile, for one who taunts death can do so but once. Then the Undying Emperor leaned over the Domin and drove a skeletal finger right into his heart, and he pulled at the scarlet thread of his soul, and the thread trembled, stretched to the limit. It was then that the revelation came to the Domin. A life must be paid for a life, and a name was revealed to him: Naki Erebis. That was the life the Undying One demanded as payment, and the Domin... Naki Erebis? What? I feel like, what if I agree here, and that's one of my companions? What if that's Kibella's real name? I'm gonna refuse. The light in the Undying One's eyes faded out, and he returned to his throne and sat down upon it, for he had nothing to say to one unwilling to repay death's benevolence. And the Domin turned and walked away. Bro, do we do this? I had to do it, right? There is no way that would be Kibela. Took his words back and agreed to the bargain. An oath of blood was sworn, and the chains fell from the Domin's shadow. Yet she remained silent and motionless, for she saw no sense in leaving the halls of death, to which the Domin told her, that in beholding death as one of the living, she had received a gift of unparalleled greatness. And the eyes of the Domin's shadow opened, and she replied that she had not been waiting, had not missed him, sought neither duty, nor power, nor mercy, and had no desire to live, as the monsters spawned by her mind had not been defeated and were still strong. However, she then rose to her feet and followed the one she had sworn an oath to, for her duty outweighed her mind's torment. He is death. He is death. But wait, didn't she just say she sought neither duty, but then her duty outweighed her mind? Like what? The Domin and his shadow left the bridge of the Undying Emperor, may his praises be innumerable, and their path was strewn with his tarot cards. Among them, the Domin saw the card of the Executioner, who carries out sentences and brings a violent end to that which he did not begin. Among them, the Domin saw the card of the Judge, who weighs and separates guilt from innocence, and passes his verdict. And they descended into the lower base, laid down into a stone coffin, and closed their eyes. And the Domin heard the Undying Emperor's voice promising they would meet again, and soon. And thereupon their journey ended. And so it was that the Domin, having seen death before his due time, traveled there and back to bring us these tidings and wisdom. Be free of doubt as you walk along the threads of the Bloodspan web, for those threads lead to him, as does all of existence. He is death. He is death. Dude, that was kinda interesting. As the shock of another's mind's jumbled thoughts stop constricting your throat, you find yourself staring at Kibela's pale face. It has settled into a strange expression. Domin Mrayse? I spoke to the Emperor. That was not the Emperor, Lord Captain, it was merely Mistress Kibela's vision of him, a figment born out of her imagination. Alas, none among my fellows are powerful enough to bring you the voice of the protector of mankind. Are you well, Kibela? Do you remember what happened? How we met death? I remember stumbling. I remember my doubt in the truth of the tenets throwing me off my feet. I remember deciding to kill, and not because I had heard his whisper, but because I deemed it to be right. Death whispered my name, for a spinner without a thread is like a sky without stars. They would drown in their own soul's darkness. And I am still filled with doubt. Is the Vizier leading the Bloodspan web down the right path? Do I hear truth in his whisper, or am I distorting it with my own wishes? That doubt must be extinguished. Task the High Factotum with finding information? This Naki Erebus is the payment the Undying One demands, the price of my redemption, the price of freedom. Who is this person? Where are they from? I do not know. Help me find them, Domin. Your factotum oversees archives that contain many names. Let him find the one that death has spoken, and I will pay the price that was set. For I know, I feel with all my essence, the death of Naki Erebus is the key, the answer to my questions. Dude, okay, so yeah. Like, who is that? That's very specific.